Welcome to Idea Tennis, where we challenge ideas, elevate thinking, and serve up conversation that make you question everything.
Hustle with Heart is not just a theory. It was born from the need to reinvent myself, the need to go from surviving to thriving, the need from being able to go from desperation to elevation. We don't rise by algorithms. We rise by alignment and finding your purpose and stepping into it where you can live out your dream because ultimately you are helping make somebody else's life better. Let's stop building businesses that look good online but feel empty offline.
Jessica, welcome back, my lady. Today, I want to talk about. Well, let me put it this way: we're gonna talk about your community a bit. I think it's a good time for the audience to really understand the project you've been working on, and I've been seeing it growing over time. So today they get to learn about that, and you get to teach us about exactly what we get to see from your growth journey, or as far as building your stuff online. How are you doing today, by the way? It's been a while since we catch up.
Yes,
I think
I'm doing
I think you've taken a vacation from Asher, so I need to know what's going on.
1 week vacation, Asher, right? Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. Lots of good things have been going on. There's been a lot of growth, a lot of completion of
Mm-hmm.
certain things, which for most people is the determining factor of progress when you
Mm-hmm.
finish something, because a lot of people start, but more people don't finish. And when we really focus in on what do we want that outcome to be and what do we need to do to arrive there, once we arrive, it feels good. It feels like a weight has been lifted. And I'm feeling very encouraged and blessed at what we're creating with the Hustle
Mm-hmm.
with Hard community.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, I meet some of your clientele that you've been working with, and I see some of the growth with some of them. And I would love for you, if you don't mind, share what that journey has been like building what you've been building, because I know you have committed in different settings, different, because I said right now I'm figuring out the tech world, by the way. The tech world has been something new for me in a certain way because I didn't really work that much because most of my time in the military I do work on systems a lot, but now I'm jumping in the tech world and figure out how do I understand and navigate it, like trying to understand your language, the jargons, the terms and stuff. I'm like, oh God, it's a lot different, Jess. And
Yes.
I know you've been playing that space a bit too and trying to figure out the language they're using and their jargons and some of the stuff that they're talking about. So tell us about Hustle with Heart. Tell us what it's all about.
At one point in life, I felt that if I worked harder, I'd feel successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to shift from working for validation to working for purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I had to shift my mindset of it's my dream, but I don't have to build it alone.
Mm.
And for a lot of people, they feel that burden of only I know what I want this to look like, to be like, to feel like. And that leads to burnout, is what that leads to. I want my
100%.
business, yes, I want my business to be successful, but I also want to be able to work smarter and not harder. I want to be able to use technology for me in helping me shortcut some of the processes. I want to be able to surround myself with people that know more than me in different areas to help enhance what I bring to the table, to my community, to my clients. And it has been a beautiful, messy journey of learning, but even more so of bringing what was like a dream that I had and seeing it come to life. It's been beautiful process for me. So let's see, where do we start? We're not going to start with the 12-week program. We've spoken a little bit about that, and I will speak about it during this podcast, but I want to talk about how do you use technology to scale and what are the
Mm-hmm.
things. What I realized is I consider myself pretty smart. I don't want to have to learn everything all the time, man. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of
Hmm.
work. So, what did I do? I figured out what would be the best way for me to grow, to scale. We are talking about business, and I think it's important that we kind of just put it out there that we capture leads, that we
Hmm.
capture information, that we
Hmm.
build community. And for most businesses, the primary way to do that is with some type of CRM on the back end.
Customer relation management.
I looked into a lot of different things. I looked into building a community. A lot of people use School. I
Hmm.
decided I was going to use a white label of Go High Level to create my own community that allows me to, yes, capture leads, but also add value. I also realized that as much as I knew the basics in creating these things and Go High Level, I wanted and needed more than just basic. So we've spoken several times about some of the tools and resources and things we go to get information. And one of those is Fiverr. So I
Hmm.
went out, I sourced someone to help me through Fiverr to help me create my Go High Level community and my back end of my program and the technology, and help me incorporate it into my program and what I want to look like and feel like and even sound like. I didn't want it to sound like someone else. I wanted it to sound and feel authentic to me. And if you've worked with me before, you know how I speak, you know my vibe. And I wanted it to be that. I wanted it to be that. And so it's been an amazing journey in creating this. So I have two communities. One is free, it's called the Hustle with Heart Collective. And then I have a private paid community that's part of my coaching program that's called the Hustle with Heart Inner Circle.
Mm. No, you talk about Fiverr. I'm gonna jump on that one for a little bit because I mean, a lot of people know about Fiverr, a lot of people don't. And a lot of I mean, there are other ones like Upwork and a couple other versions of it out there that are where you go find people that have the expertise you need. And I've found some sources on there, and you gotta go at your own risk, my friend. You gotta go out there and find the people. You gotta vet them. You gotta work with them a little bit, test them out, build that trust piece of it, test out the expertise, whether or not they're capable of doing the things you wanted them to do. And it takes a while to find the right people. But oftentimes finding the right people requires that you gotta have some patience. You gotta have some, you gotta have some discernment. You gotta make sure you go in there and figure out exactly how it's gonna work. So I would love to know your vetting process. Like, how do you go through and navigate the journey of finding the expertise, the skill set out there from other people? And a lot of these, some of these people are international. So then you got to figure out how you navigate that space. So tell us about how you actually build Hustle with Heart and the stuff. And just give us the vision and the aspiration of it, and how do you kind of like form that?
I will also tell you that it was a process. I
Mm-hmm.
shared with you privately all of the people that I had reached out to in Fiverr, and some people just didn't respond. Some people did respond, but didn't have the capacity to do what I needed. And so I needed to make sure that I could connect with someone that saw my vision and had the ability, skill set, and experience to
Mm-hmm.
execute it. I didn't want a cookie cutter template.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of the consultants on Fiverr were offering. And there is nothing wrong with starting off with a cookie cutter template if you're just starting off. But I've been doing this work for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want my stuff online to look cookie cutter template. Again, I wanted that authenticity. I wanted it to feel like me. So being able to identify somebody that had the experience. And when I mean by experience, I was asking people, show me show me example, real life examples of your work. And when I asked them that question, some of them ghosted me. So really do your due diligence. Don't take for face value what somebody writes on their profile. Anybody could write anything, and make sure that your vision is clear. It's not always about choosing the least expensive,
Mm-hmm.
because generally that would be an indicator of the quality of not only work, but the quality of the work has to do with the experience. And if
Mm-hmm.
someone is highly experienced, they're going to know their value and their worth. And
Mm-hmm.
so while you're working with somebody that maybe is starting out because you're starting out and that's your budget, That's okay. Go start there. Start
Mm-hmm.
there. Start with that. Start with something, but figure out how to make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out how to work with somebody that can hear and see your vision and what you want to bring to life. I found somebody that was able to really bring their experience to the table. And what do I mean by experience? The person created over 17,000 funnels. I mean, that's experience, right? They weren't
Mm-hmm.
just someone who is dipping their toe to see if they can make some money doing this. No, this is this person's livelihood. And I will say there was a little bit of a language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had to learn how to be patient, to
Mm-hmm.
extend grace. But in return, I was given, I believe, more than even what I expected.
More than
The-
what you bargained for.
Yes, yes, more than what I bargained for. I mean, the idea that I could go back and tell this person however many number of times, like, and not because they did anything wrong, but because of me and my desire and what I wanted it to look like or feel like to change something 5 times. If I asked the person to change something 5 times, the person had humility and understanding and gave me enough grace to be able to have that relationship and express that. I asked the person, share with me your expertise. I've never done this on this scale before. What
Mm-hmm.
do you know works based on your experience? And I think that when we're working with like consultants from Fiverr or independent consultants, it's important that as the client, you express to the consultant, you school me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm paying you, but I want you to help educate me on how this can be better. How can this be more effective, efficient, less time consuming, simple?
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to do that for me. And I loved that. I love that I put it out there and then she just told me like the technical word for it or what it was
Mm-hmm.
called in the marketing world. And it was a labor of love, I think, for both of us as we were working through the process. But the end result was really something that I could feel proud of. And I'm blessed for having her now as part of my network and circle of someone that I can depend on when I need projects done.
Mm. Yeah, I often tell you this, but I was listening to an interview, and if you know the guy named Johnny Ive, he's one of the big designer behind Apple when he was working with Apple and when Steve Jobs kind of, but he wasn't that really a good designer, right? And he was just breaking down how we see design look. And sometimes I would say this, you have this, you got to dot the I across the T kind of person. And I would say sometimes just your technicality, your attention to detail, it remind me of folks like Johnny I have folks like that, not on that level, but I'm just saying the same kind of person that wants to see the beauty,
Yeah.
the aesthetics, but also the behind the product, the internal piece. We was talking about some of the greatest cabinet makers or the true cabinet makers, the one that says, I'm gonna also make sure that behind the drawer looks great too, right? Like all of that stuff, the internal and the external piece of it, the aesthetics piece of it. And when I was seeing you just going back and forth with your consultant here, as far as, hey, this is what I want, I wanted to look this way, and she was patient enough to say, hey, I'm gonna make sure this happen. And I was like, wait a minute, Jess, I need you on my team just because that part of the process, the aesthetic piece of it, sometimes I don't really care about that much because that is not my skill set. And there are people that have the vision for that. Like, I want it looks this way. And I wanna ask you about when did that started for you, when you were a person of aesthetics, not just internal, but no, external, but internal as well. Like when did that started for you as well when you look at your own projects?
I think first impressions matter.
Mm,
They speak loud. They set up the tone, they set up the scenario of what someone could expect.
mm-hmm,
And so if, clean, simple, and sexy is the way I want to describe my back end of my brand, sexy being like having flair, part fun, part provocative, and provocative meaning that it's getting people to think and question different. That's really what
mm-hmm,
hustle with heart is. It's not about chasing the bag. Ultimately, you will secure the bag if you build business the right way. I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday. They shared a win. A client that I have sent me a text message sharing a win, and I was super
Mm,
proud of the person because their previous coach that they were working with was pushing something that didn't feel right and good. And I said,
mhm,
that is the core of Hustle with Heart. It's being able to add value and solution, to be able to build longevity through relationships where ultimately you need to have trust, not just trust in your products, but trust in you. Your clients need to trust you. If they trust you, they're willing to go ride with you to wherever. But if the trust is not there with the product you're selling and the trust is not there with you have no business. And
mm,
so the fact that he was able to focus in on building the trust and the person didn't see them as just trying to sell them something, but really trying to help them, I was so happy for him. I felt almost like proud mama bear. That's what Hustle with Heart is. And I
mhm,
want people from whatever the first exposure is. Maybe their first exposure of me is listening on the podcast. Maybe the first exposure of me is seeing me on Facebook or Instagram. Maybe the first exposure is being part of my community. I want them to feel like I can trust this person.
mhm,
I can trust her. I could trust what she's trying to sell me because the sale is not about money for her. And I've said this before, money's not my motivator.
mhm,
So if they can feel that, they can see that. Now we all have bills to pay. I'm not going to say we're not going to free has no value.
mhm,
And when you make an offer and people pay the offer, they pay attention. When
mhm.
they pay more attention. And so being able to realize what we bring to the table, what you bring, what I bring, collectively, what we bring together has more value. So if my offer is X amount of dollars, your offer is X amount of dollars, but now we're bringing Jess and Asher together in one offer. Oh, that's premium price. That's premium price. Why? Because it's almost as if you are guaranteed if you take action based on what Jessica and Asher are coaching you to do, it's inevitable. You will see results.
I'll go back to the trust piece because the trust to get to action is often the biggest challenge because people to get to action, they don't trust the person that you're speaking to. Therefore, they don't do any action. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting no action, right? Getting no action is the big thing. But oftentimes, people don't have the confidence, they don't have the skill set, the capabilities, and all that stuff. But if they lack commitment in the trusted person that in front of them, or the thing they want to do, then you won't get to action. If you don't get to action, then there's no result. And that's oftentimes the biggest challenge. So if you gotta get to action, whatever it means necessary to get to action, who are you gonna trust gonna walk with you to get to action? That's very valuable. So I understand the trust piece. But going back to hustle with heart community here, building it out and your journey. So you rocked on Fiverr, you found some folks to help you navigate this journey down. So what is the product looking like? Are you willing to share what the product look like?
I will. I will. I will share with
I
everyone.
don't want to do spoiler alert, the teaser.
No,
Huh?
we'll do a spoiler. We'll do a spoiler. I mean, no one's in the community yet. I haven't sent out invitations to join the community. I have had a conversation. I have a community within WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
I have a decent amount of people within WhatsApp community that I work with, and I've verbally invited them, haven't sent them the link yet, to
Mm-hmm.
my collective, my Hustle with Heart collective, the free community to help build out and to grow and share and scale. But,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about trust, I want people to realize that part of why I created Hustle with Heart is because I believed in my heart that it was something that was missing in our industry and our business. I'm able to have people trust in me because
Mm-hmm.
they've seen, whether it's historical seen, like seen growth, or actually know me and see growth. Hustle with Heart is not just a theory.
Mm-hmm.
It was born from the need to reinvent myself. the need to go from surviving to thriving, the need from being able to go from desperation to elevation. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when people hear my story, the and we hear so many, and it's not rags to riches. That's not what it's about. It's about someone who had the cards stacked against them before they were even born. That's someone being me. And somewhere along the line, deciding that it wasn't based on the cards that I had in my deck that was going to determine if I was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to determine how I was going to play those cards because winning was the only option. And it wasn't winning in the sense of like the gains part. We're talking about winning in the sense of living life, doing the things that bring you joy, that bring you closer to God, and that ultimately help you serve other people. To me, that's my winning. And so that's where that came from.
What? You just you just drop a bar on me just now, by the way. When you say winning was the only option based on where you started, because you started when it was all stacked against you. So it's interesting, Jess, that you started, it says not all you start is all you end, but it's like the idea that where I started from, the only option I had was to win. Because I'm already losing. Right. So you only have the only option is to win now. You're going up, right? So that was interesting when you dropped those. So I really felt that one just now. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. So many people get stuck in their head of the circumstances
Mm-hmm.
in which they allowed to define and determine their life. No one here on this planet Earth is alone. No one. And all the people that I know that are still alive and kicking have overcome every difficult moment in their life. But they're so focused on the problems, so focused on the challenges, so focused on the lack that they can't see the possibility, the potential, what's waiting for them to arrive because they're so stuck. And so the idea that I can help somebody become unstuck,
Mm-hmm.
the idea that I can create a community that it's not just me helping other people get unstuck, but a whole group of people sharing their challenges, their wins, asking for help. Asking for help is one of the most courageous things anyone can do for themselves, personally and professionally. Saying that I don't know all the answers, but I want to learn. Who has had the experience? Who can help me? That to me is bravery. That to me is humility. It's love. It's love not just for themselves, but love for the community they're a part of because they realize and respect that everyone adds value in a different way.
Mm-hmm. No, that's inspiring, by the way. That's inspiring. So where are you right now? So you're saying that you're gonna transfer your folks from WhatsApp into this new community that you built on the Go High Level
Yes.
so, places. So I know some folks probably don't care about the technicalities, but I want to ask you just because they're gonna run into it anyway. Because oftentimes they say when you're building any kind of software, or whatever thing you're building, it's good to have an understanding of what it's like, so you can actually really delegate and actually ask better question if you
Yeah.
understand it. That's when you was talking to your tech person was like, "Hey, school me on these things, blah blah." Because now you get to ask better question, you get to delegate better. So as you was going through this, so tell me about the learning curve of being really working with somebody that's tech savvy, and your functionality in that process.
I will say, and a lot of people have this beautiful problem. They think things are easier than what they actually are. We see,
Mm-hmm.
because we see the end result.
Yes.
We see the end result, whether it's that we're participating in something, a funnel, and we don't know it, or we're participating in a community and the community is big and beautiful and we don't see what it took to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see, okay, there's 5,000 people in this community. Like, how did it get to 5,000 people? Well, it started with one. That's the first step, right?
Yes.
And it didn't start as maybe big, beautiful, and tech savvy as it looks now today when it has 5,000 people in it. Understanding that, I also had limitations. Technology has limitations. How do I move past those limitations? How do I get around those limitations? Things I wanted to do within the community. And she was like, it just doesn't let you do that. It has a maximum of 160 characters. I'm like, what the hell? Why does it maximum of 160? But you have to find a way around it and realize that it's a work in progress. As you build a community, as people contribute to the community, you'll see how the community grows. That's the only way I'll know how to do better and be better. I need community.
Here is an incentive too for the folks that are out there want to build their own thing, and that's why I like startup, being part of the startup process too, or anything new. Because if I want to learn how to do it myself, then I gotta see the journey now. Because now, Jess, you're gonna show folks, you're
Yeah.
gonna transition your community from one platform to the next platform. You're gonna go from your WhatsApp side of the house to this new platform. Then you gotta build it out, grow it out. Then you gotta find a way to grow it and scale it. You gotta transform it to now people get to see how that actually works. And if they want to learn to do their own thing, they get to see our first time, like beta testing something, whatever you want to call it. You get to learn from it. So now, how is that journey looking for you?
I mean, it's looking good. I had people that are reaching out because they hear about my community. How could I join? I'm excited at the idea that people want to be a part of my community. It's what I've worked so hard for. I want to not just feel different, but be different when it comes to cultivating and growing community. Hustle with Heart was born from my heart. It was born from a place of a messy, busy, beautiful life. And I want other people to realize that the path to success, and everyone's path is different, everyone's dream is different, what everyone wants is different, but there is a common core value when it comes to being able to hustle with heart, and that is to be of service to others, to offer value, a solution, to not focus in on someone as a dollar sign or a future client or a future business partner, but really focusing in on how could I be a blessing to someone today? And then God is the one who's gonna give it back, not the person you helped. I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but never doing something with that intention. But I would love to share with everybody my community that I'm building, the collective. Talk even a little bit about creating the collective and the limitations that I had with creating the collective and how I wanted the collective to be an altered but very similar version to my paid community. Obviously, in the paid community, you receive more tangible, direct contact with me as a coach. And it is part of my Hustle with Heart 12-week coaching program. Who knows, maybe down the line there'll be a pay option just for the community without the coaching program. I'm not there yet, but I'd love to share it. What do we think, Asher?
Yeah, I want to see. And matter of fact, I was talking to our other friend, Dr. Renisha, because she's building her community too. And I was like, yo, you gotta go see Jess stuff, man, because Jess just building her stuff out. And because she's also transitioned her community from another platform to this same platform here. And I was like, yo, let's go. Let's see what Jess got, because Jess stuff is pretty, and Jess got the aesthetics on her stuff really nice. And I was like, oh my God. So I haven't built mine yet. I'm looking at all you guys building your stuff. But anyway, just go ahead, unveil the thing, the
All
front
right,
stage,
we're
to see
gonna
the front stage.
unveil it. We're gonna unveil it. Welcome to the collective, the Hustle with Heart Collective. This is the community that I am building. This is the public, free community of Hustle with Heart. And it works very similar, I'm going to say, to a private Facebook group, or to if you are using like or familiar with the school communities. It's almost identical, the layout, to like a school community. This is just a reminder, a white label of Go High Level platform. And so figuring out what were the topics that I wanted people to engage in. So we have the start here that I created. And this was the part where it was very limiting. And I had to figure out, like, how do you go around the limitation of explaining to people, especially because people, since this is free, get to share it with other people that don't know me yet. And so I wanted to be able to welcome people, what they could expect, what the community is about. And you have here and it limits me to 100 and I think 60 characters as a description. So I was like, well, the workaround is to pin a post.
Okay, let me ask you this question then for right here. So it does it allow you to have the links on here? Because I was thinking if you like, could you maybe like welcome letter or introduction, maybe you want to like a Google documents just tie it right into it. So when people go and click it, they can go in there and just read even more too. So I was thinking that automatically too.
So
Oh, you
yeah,
have
look.
never mind.
Yes. Sure, come on. You know I dot the I's and cross the T's. It's all there. It's all there. Yes, I really put a lot of thought and love into what I want this to look like for
Mm-hmm.
people. And so I want it to be a place where people feel safe to share,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just sharing the wins, but really also sharing the challenges and getting that input from people of how to get over the challenges. So I'm not going to share the PDF. People are going to have to join the community to see that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say it's different. It's different than what we're used to, like on Facebook or anything like that. So you can't just post an image. The image has to have some type of wording with it, like here, where I wrote, "You belong here." And so, kind of that learning curve was something that I had to figure out, how do I make this still work? How do I
Mm-hmm.
figure it out in a way that makes sense? And yeah, so I have announcements and these, so the start here, people are going to be asked to introduce themselves, say hi, where they're from, where in the country, where in the world they're from. This is no pitching. People cannot come here and pitch their product, pitch their business. They can speak about it in terms of asking people for guidance or help in business growth, but this is not the place to pitch or to sell your personal product. There's announcements, and that'll come as the community grows and we see what it is that people have to offer. Maybe there'll be like a pitch day where everyone will get to pitch. We're not there yet though. There's announcements, there's business building tips that'll be in here. Because I'm in admin mode, you don't see the description of the page, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Or like for your rules of engagement here.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But each of them has a description of what the page is what the group is intended for on the side, the tab. There's mindset and motivation where people get to drop podcasts that they're enjoying, a book that they're reading, a positive quote, a video, an asset that they are loving right now that could be of value to the community. What am I reading? Whether it's an actual book or an audio book, the first book that's going to go up there is Memoirs to Millions. Saying why you're loving the book, and not just my book or Asher's book, but put all the books. Asher, don't put the 800 books that you've read, okay? Just put a couple of books that can help the community. All right, Asher? An open discussion and sharing where winning together. You have weekly check-ins, you celebrate progress, you stay on track together, you find your business bestie, you drop mindset or business quotes and resources and things, and you connect with other members, most important. We'll have a member spotlight each month where we highlight a contributor of the community that's adding value. Collab and connect, where people would drop their social handles and follow each other. Then you get Ask Jess, which is once a week, open office hours.
Oh, and then we could probably use some of those Ask Just questions on the podcast too. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
this.
And then they'll get a sneak peek of my 12-week coaching program, and I'll throw in some little clips or advice that was given out in that week. Plus, I'll be sharing not just me, I'm going to encourage the community also to include events and free trainings that they either know of or have access to. And you could find those on the top where it says events. You'll be able to have like links and information. All of my events will be on here, both free and paid events that'll be coming up. And that's how people will have the best way to access me directly.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see the members listings. Right now we have two members that were helping me beta test. I know this
Mm-hmm.
one, Asher, right? Right. And then learning will be where you will catch me on replay. Any free training or events that you were not able to attend, It'll be dropped on here, and it'll also be accessed through a private link that people would have access to. So this is pretty much the basics and what it looks like right now with no members yet, but that'll change. So
Congratulations, Jess. It looks nice, by the way. I like the build out here. It's pretty easy to navigate, and I can already see how you find a place where people start exchanging ideas, and that's kind of it's not well, not at least not, don't flood it, but just kind of like really put
yeah,
I value things in here that they're tracking. Other people might find it useful,
yeah,
especially based on the community that they're part of. Like, oh, we all thinking about the
yes.
same thing. They drop a few resources here. Because I watch some really good podcasts sometimes, but I don't share with everybody. I share with you and a couple other people that I'm really like building with, like in the same mindset level.
Hmm.
But if I know somebody's, oh yeah, we tracking some of the same thing, I'm like, well, I just came across this platform. For example, we've been talking about me building out this AI. I'm trying to build Varela. It's called Varela, and I was doing the research for it, by the way. And I started watching and reading a lot of books and listening to podcasts and stuff. And matter of fact, this is what I did first. I was on LinkedIn. I was reaching out to a lot of folks on LinkedIn talking.
Hmm.
And I connect with this one guy. I think he's in the Netherlands. We was talking. We had like a few chat, and then I'm telling universe working in awesome ways. So like a week before, I was listening to this one podcast called the platform called Y Combinators, and it's like a startup community. But I was listening to the podcast. I didn't really recognize there was a startup community. So I was talking to this guy, and he was like, "Actually, you probably should pitch your idea to the Y Combinator because they fund startups." And I was like, "Y Combinator? I know them, but I didn't really know them that deep." And it was like, "Oh, they have a community called Startup Schools, and it's free." And he was like, "You can go on there and you can match up with co-founders that are probably want to do found a new company and stuff." And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, but right then in that moment, the right question popped in and the right recommendation. And he's using that in the Netherlands. And it was like, actually, you in the US, you got better access probably than I do right now. You should definitely go check him out. So then I went on the platform and I went down the rabbit hole for that one. But I was just saying that it was interesting to see how that plays out. So now coming back to your platform, it's like you in this platform, you might find people that like, oh yeah, we can do something together because we're in the
Yes.
same space. But I didn't know that platform exists until I started reaching out to people networking. So this is the other easy thing to kind of tie back into your stuff.
Ultimately, it's a way to be able to connect and collab, right?
Mm, hmm
That means different things for different people.
hmm
Sometimes it is doing work together. Sometimes it's me hiring somebody in the community that knows how to do something I don't know. It's not just one way street. They're not just hiring me. Maybe I'm hiring them. But it's
hmm
about connecting and collaborating. It's about being in a space where your dreams are taken seriously, where your fears are met with compassion and your voice is heard authentically, and when you're able to really help people see that everyone has a unique value to offer
hmm
and giving them the encouragement and the platform to make an
There's
offer.
encouragement is a big part. Just tell you right
Yeah,
now.
come on. We're
Hmm
not in competition. We are not in competition. Everyone has their, I say, their perfect ideal clients waiting for them. It's about going out there unapologetically you, with a little mix of courage, faith, and flair, and putting it out into the universe and telling people what you're doing and not doing it quietly in a corner.
Yes, you never know who you might people. So it's all about the intersection. And I think Hustle with Heart is a great intersection where people get to intersect and connect. And then before you know it, you might meet your guy, your girl. That might be the right person for you. You might be a person that's visionary, but you need a technical person. They might just popped in here, right? You never know
Hmm.
who you're gonna meet in the right circle of influence. So I like it. I like the name too. It's really nice. Well, thank you for displaying that, Jess, and sharing that. Because oftentimes what people don't show you this part of it just because they wait till this community is banging, a couple 100,000 people, and they're like, oh yeah, blah blah. And then you talk about how you get here, but you're like, I'm starting here. This is what I'm moving to. I'm navigating this piece. I'm moving my community into a new platform, and I'm bringing the folks along and who are interested in coming to this new platform. Because the thing is, you already have a community.
Yes.
You've been hosting them differently. So the same thing. A lot of
Yeah.
people have people they know, but they haven't put them in one place that they can really like. Oh, I like to be in this space. So now let's see how people respond to this new space.
I also think that people don't realize that part of my coaching is not just exclusive to the 12-week coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
I do limited one-on-one coaching, very limited. I will say that because it is a
It's exhausting.
yes. But I love to see the growth in people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I were speaking about it before we went live about
Yeah,
what
I was sharing. This is what I was sharing. Let me say it before you say it, Jess. I'm one up you on it because I was observing you. Because sometimes I observe your community stuff, and I remember this young lady in your community, and when I met her, because you don't want to introduce me to her, I think I can't remember if you would want to introduce me to her, but I seen her growth. And the last time you have a meeting, I was observing her speaking, and I was like, I remember. 'Cause I think last year, sometime I think it was the women's in North Carolina last year. Me and her was talking, and she was like, Asher, I remember when you first invite me to Toastmaster, because I had online Toastmaster that I was running at the time. And I was like, come on, you should work on your public speaking and stuff. And she came and she didn't come back. So then when I met her last August, we was in North Carolina, I was like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah. She was like, Asher, sorry I didn't come back to your club. But when I came there, I was so intimidated. I didn't want to come back because I just felt like didn't have the confidence to do it, blah, blah, so forth and so on. But then I know I've actually been working with you. But when I heard her speak a couple nights ago, I was like, who is this lady? You know, just I was like, wait a minute, she's very articulate, and she was just resurrecting stories in a way. I was like, wait a minute, who have been teaching you? But it was very proud to see, and I was like, I was clapping. I was like, you got some potential, my friend. You should keep going. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that is an example of the type of person that I choose to work with as a
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one client. You need to be wanting and willing to put in the work in order for me to work with you. I don't care how much you pay me. Money is not the motivator. You've heard me
Mm-hmm.
say that before. If you take action on the things we work on, success will be your reward. You will see the fruits of your labor. When confidence is no longer an issue, and I truly believe community is the soil where confidence grows.
Mm-hmm.
Collectively, it's how we all lift each other up. When confidence is no longer an issue, and then you're receiving the coaching of the know how, you become unstoppable
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be at a place where you are ready and wanting to be better and do better, to take different action, to apply the things that we are discussing that are very tangible. There's homework assignments. Don't show, I will not meet with you the next week
Mm-hmm.
if you have not completed your assignments because you are not wasting my time. I let people know that in advance. These are the non negotiables for me. If
Get
you
to
want to
action.
work with me, these are the non negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for my benefit, it's ultimately for your benefit because we can't move forward if you're still in last week's mode. So, setting the groundwork, and she has been just she has just taken it all in and she's gotten comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see her growth has been something really special. But I also help people do what I just did, create communities, create funnels, marketing strategies, and I have you to even help with that process. But we do much more than just coaching on specific, on book writing or in network marketing or multi-level marketing or direct sales. We have packages at every price point to help people scale and grow their business, whatever that business is. We want our audience, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, to see that we're doing it too.
Well, yes, because you teach what you want to learn the most about. So you teach
Yeah.
what that's the formula for my life. I teach what I want to learn. And what you teach, you learn faster than things you teach when you teach it, right? So, I mean, that's something I learned from the military. It doesn't matter what you know. You start, if you learn something, you start teaching it, you learn more about it because in the process of doing it, you get feedback like, oh, I didn't thought about that. Oh, no, this is starting ingraining in me. So I take advantage of it at all times. Teach what I want to learn.
Yes.
So as I'm learning, I'm teaching. As I'm learning, I'm teaching it. Because at the end of the day, right, it's gonna benefit me, gonna benefit you. Because the more I teach you, the more I learn from me. Right. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
always good. That's always good.
I want to say one last thing about like the technology. And yes, we use technology to help us. We're embracing where the future is going.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want anyone to misunderstand that we don't rise by algorithms. We
Mm-hmm.
rise by alignment
Mm-hmm.
and finding your purpose and stepping into it where you can live out your dream because ultimately you are helping make somebody else's life better.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you're called to do. But sometimes we need the technology and the algorithm and all that stuff to help us get there because we need people to know, hello, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to use technology to put yourself out there, to grow your own community, but do the work that's required for you to arrive there.
I will add this before we close. This is my bold aspiration right now because I've been on this book writing journey for a while, and there's so many different pieces to it. Sometimes a lot of those pieces are frustrating and difficult and confusing and so many more pieces, right? You got to bring so many pieces together for this thing to work. So I've been working like deep down, like I gotta find a solution for this. I know I introduced you to Varela. It's the name of Varela.ai, right? I want to build a operating system for memory surveillance community. I want to build it. I can build it on top of any one of these large language modules. I was thinking about using OpenAI first. Can I build it out? But I've been hunting for a co-founder because when I would tell you I was looking through the Y Combinator and I understand what they do. They fund new startup if the idea is great and the MVP is pretty good. So I've been going on there and I went on there. I went to their startup school and I applied for it. I get in there, I start doing the lesson. Then they have a platform where they match you with. It's like a LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, but it's like a platform where they match you with another co-founder that might be interested in your ideas. So I've been looking at it. They allow you to like reach out to like 20 people a week. So I went
Huh.
out there automatically. I maxed out. I sent out my few short pitches, invitation to have conversation. And I was on there, just telling you, there's some brilliant people on there, right? Some of these guys have founded $1 million companies or whatever, right? They've been funded a lot of companies. These guys are like really good credential. Like I found these couple guys that hit me back a couple times. But these guys they work in Silicon Valley, they do all these things right, but like really smart people, the tech folks I'm looking for. And I was going through it, just looking at profiles and checking back and forth, and I was like, oh, this is the place I need to be. But I wouldn't have discovered this if I wasn't pushing on LinkedIn really hard and see your LinkedIn is working with the aligning with. But then when I went back and find Y Combinator, I was like, wait a minute, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people on this level that want to build business, that are starting business and see, because I've got to raise funding for my new aspiration here, Varela. Then I'm gonna need to figure out how to do that and who do I connect with to do that. So it's been really awesome just over the last few weeks, just really like working through this platform, learning how it works, learning what these people are, and the senior profile and what they've done. I'm like, this is space we're moving into. But Varela is coming, my friend. I'm building that thing because I need my iOS for Members Million. I need my operating system for Members Million. And this is going to be that solution for it where I just kind of combine all that process of writing books. But now we're going to do it AI, right? Like a lot of automation, a lot of stuff is already in there where you can prompt your way through a lot of this stuff. That's what I want to build. That's what I'm building. And little by little, I'm going to get there. And I got you to cheer me on that journey too. So I appreciate you, by the way.
Yes, we're gonna make that
Mm-hmm.
piece of technology so irresistible to
Mm-hmm.
people that they cannot imagine writing a book without it.
That is, with that, my friend, we're going to close out. Just, I love the way you put that just now. We're going to close out. So let me ask you this, Jess. For the folks that's listening, but for myself as well. We went through this conversation today, and we mainly was talking about your community, your journey of transition from one platform to the next, bringing your people along with you, and then see how the technical journey was for you. But at the same time, bringing that vision to life using outside skill set. What was your biggest takeaway from this entire journey of building this thing for you and this conversation overall?
Let's stop building businesses that look good online but feel empty offline.
Mm,
When we talk about hustle with heart, It is the exact opposite of what hustle without heart means. Hustle without heart is fast money, fake strategies, and surface level wins that don't create impact or legacy. I want to be able to work with a community of people who, yes, are looking for more and willing to do more for it, but are looking beyond themselves. That when we talk about using technology for good, when we talk about scaling a business for good, when we talk about creating sales and generating income, it's for good. That when we talk about being of service to others, it's because we're making deposits into that bank so that we, at the end of our life, whether it's 86 or 106, we know where we're going. And I just want to remind everybody that while we talk about business, we talk about legacy, we talk about impact, we talk about income in our Hustle with Heart community, we also talk about faith. My deep rooted faith in God is the thing that got me from going from a losing hand to a winning hand, and to remind everyone that God isn't here. He is waiting for you there. He's waiting for you to arrive, and he's waiting for you to walk in your path. So with that being said, Asher.
Hmm. That one really moved me, by the way. Jess, you are an inspiration, my friend.
Oh,
You
thank
are. You are. And I think you don't have the right to not to have a community. You don't have the right to skip this purpose in life. You don't have the right to sit on the sideline and watch folks that need you don't have you. You ain't got the right to do that, my friend. And with that charge, I think you gotta go out there and leave a mark like you are been doing already. And I appreciate you just really like taking the risk of doing this thing that some people run into the frustration and just give up. So I really appreciate you, my friend. That is my biggest takeaway.
thank you, Asher. Where could they find you?
Single biggest location right now is livechangingwisdom.com. It's gonna get revamped in a bit, but that's where you can link me up. And on social media, I'm on all the social media platforms under my name, except on link on sorry, Instagram. It's asher.ra.sda, but Asher right on all the platform. What is your single most tell them to go the direction? Like what is the bus they need to get on?
They could find me on Instagram with Success is Your Reward with Jess. You could find me on Facebook by my name. I will even throw a link to my free public community in the show notes. And if you're interested in being part of the Hustle with Heart collective that ultimately works together towards more,
Mm-hmm.
you can join the community for free. And if you're interested in registering for the 12-week program, that is hustlewithheart.online.
All right, with that, folks, make it an utterly fantastic week.